Today on Newsline, kitchen nightmares in our restaurants and the search for Melbourne's hidden population. Hello and welcome to Newsline. I'm Michael O'Donnell. Also today, past players suffering in silence, and we'll have all today's finance, sport and weather. But now, let's take a look at today's news with Alexandra Hooper.
Thanks, Michael. Airline schedules were again thrown into chaos when Qantas aircraft engineers in Melbourne took industrial action over a pay dispute. Their colleagues in Brisbane and Sydney took similar action yesterday as part of a campaign for a 5% pay increase. Despite unions declaring the fight could get nasty, Qantas say they won't budge from the offered 3% increase. The Prime Minister has declared the new Fuel Watch scheme to be optional in rural areas after consumer watchdog the ACCC warned the limited competition may cause a price increase. The Labor Party has received what Mr Rudd describes as a huge whacking this week over petrol prices and the leaking of sensitive cabinet documents. A key international report has declared the era of cheap and plentiful food over. The UN report says the West will suffer soaring food bills, while lesser developed countries will face famine, conflict and hunger. After a steady increase, prices are set to plateau 10 to 50% above the previous decade's average. The increase has been blamed on the demand in emerging markets such as in China and India, as their populations grow and appetites. The 25-year-old teacher has appeared in the Melbourne Magistrates Court charged with having sex with a 15-year-old student. She is charged with 5 sex offences involving a student at a school in Melbourne's north. She allegedly asked the boy to treat her as a sex slave and threatened him to ensure their relationship was kept secret. Her lawyer told the court she will plead not guilty to all charges. In local community news, welfare workers are warning Moorabbin-based pensioners could be giving up their medication and stopping eating in order to pay the rent. A large-scale rent rise in the area have made life incredibly tough on those relying solely on the pension. Felicity Browning from Moorabbin-based outreach service Winteringham says although the area is seen as very well off, there is hidden poverty. And that's the latest from the newsroom. Michael?
Thanks, Alexandra. The Brumby government has opted for a trial scheme to reduce plastic shopping bag use rather than ban the environmental hazards. Lisa Williams reports the government is lagging behind community concern, where many people already use green bags and some communities have banned plastic bags altogether.
Victoria will trial a levy on plastic bags in one metropolitan and one regional town later this year. Environmentalists say the government's response is disappointing.
If we can't tackle the issue about plastic bags, how are we going to deal with bigger issues such as climate change and the drought?
The trial would see a charge of 10 to 25 cents per plastic bag. Some suggest a total ban is best.
They'll stay in the environment for up to 4,000 years. So every plastic bag that's ever been used is still on this planet.
Each year, Australians use almost 4 billion plastic bags. Communities are leading the way in banning or reducing their use. Since 2004, 10 Victorian towns, including Olinda, have banned supermarket-style plastic bags using a government grant.
Everybody was for removal of plastic bags, but everybody knew that it had a cost burden on them.
The ban has been successful, with retailers using paper or green bags bought with the government funds. The government seemed to have forgotten this funding and are still conducting trials.
There's been no feedback at all from the government as to how we've progressed with it.
China and Ireland have already banned plastic bags, and South Australia will ban them from next year. Victorian retailers who feel the trial levy is simply not enough will be forced to find their own reduction methods without government assistance. The government has not yet chosen the towns or dates for the trial, which is supposed to start later this year. They were unavailable for comment for this report. Lisa Williams, Newsline.
Barassi, Witten and Jesaulenko are famous football names, but if the Alga Park Dragons have anything to do with it, you could soon be hearing the names Lee, Chan and Lim around the footy field. Nat Edwards finds out how one team is helping to change the culture of Australian footy.
The Alga Park Dragons are all about bringing diversity to the football field. Players sport backgrounds from countries across Asia where Aussie rules is relatively unknown.
Taking on board an oval-shaped footy was a lot different to what their sports they're used to, so it was a real battle to begin with.
Playing in the Club 18 section of the Victorian Amateur Football Association, this team has had to learn the game quickly.
A lot of these guys we're competing against have been playing footy all their lives, and these guys you see behind me have been playing for less than a year.
The Dragons may be lacking in height, but they use their ground speed to their advantage.
Focus on this quarter now. Just run.
Stick to the game plan, boys.
But like any team, there is always room for improvement.
We realise that we're in a developmental stage. We realise that we've got to encourage people to be involved in the sport and not discourage them.
Slowly but surely, the Dragons are gaining support from the Asian community. The Dragons' aim in the future is to reach out to the younger Asian population.
Our long-term vision is to get junior sides together, rather than starting your football at 23, start it at 6 or 7 or 8.
AFL clubs are also trying to promote the code to Asian countries, with the Essendon Football Club recently inviting 2 Japanese players to train with them during the off-season.
Currently, there is only one AFL-listed player with an Asian background, but with teams like the Elgar Park Dragons, it is likely we'll see more in the future. Nat Edwards, Newsline.